The world is still waiting for Israel to retaliate against Iran for last week's ballistic missile attack. Delay should not be seen as cold feet. Some are urging Israel to strike at Iran's nuclear facilities, where it's developing a nuclear arsenal. So, should Israel hit them? Does Israel have the ability to set them back months, if not years, if it does? Let's speak to Jason Brodsky, political director of United Against Nuclear, a think tank in the United States. Jason Brodsky, thank you for joining me. Let me begin by asking you this. How close, in your view, is Iran to being able to make nuclear bombs and deliver them by ballistic missiles?
Well, it's great to be with you, and I would say that Iran is very close to breakout. Right now, breakout time is probably around zero to create enough fuel for a nuclear weapon, but then you need to create the weaponization package and the delivery vehicle for that nuclear device, and that would take anywhere from several months to a year more. So that's really the timeline that we're working under right now.
I see. So what is missing is not some, because I know it is refining uranium way beyond what could be needed for any peaceful use. But what would be missing more than the ability to put the bomb together is the delivery system that it would need to have too.
Yes, that's all part of the package here. There is, though, a concern that Iran can use a crude nuclear device, and that is something that I know that policymakers have been eyeing very warily, given the 60% enriched uranium, which is unprecedented for a non-nuclear weapons state.
Well, what do you mean by a crude bomb? You mean it could just sort of drive in with a dirty bomb, just kind of leave it in a city center or something like that?
Yes, that is a concern, and so that's something that I know the international community has been quite worried about.
If Iran had its own nuclear weapons, particularly ones that it could stick on the top of ballistic missiles, wouldn't that change the balance of power in the region, in the Middle East region, hugely in Iran's favor?
Yes, it would, and it would result in a proliferation cascade for the other states in the region, and that is why Iran can never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. I think that what we have is a state that, as we saw recently, is not shy of attacking Israel with the largest ballistic missile attack ever against Israel from Iran since 1979. And so if it had nuclear weapons, that definitely opens up a number of concerns with respect to Israel, especially when a regime like the Islamic Republic has as one of its central foreign policy pillars the eradication of the state of Israel.
If it became public knowledge or became established that Iran had become a nuclear weapons power, you mentioned the reaction of others. What would the reactions be, for example, of the Arab Gulf states? Let's take Saudi Arabia as the biggest one. Would there not be a risk that it would rush to Pakistan to buy the bombs and missiles of its own off the shelf from Pakistan?
Absolutely. And the Saudi leadership has said that if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, that it will have to do so as well. So this is why the United States and its allies have been trying to deter the Islamic Republic from getting to that point. But the concern has been that the Islamic Republic has been advancing its nuclear program since 2021, cost-free, without the international community, meaning the United States and its allies, really credibly deterring these advancements. And that has been why there's been tremendous alarm when Iran reached 60% enrichment. And there has been no price that the Islamic Republic has paid for that kind of advancement.
Mm-hmm. So the scary prospect here, if you're looking in from the outside, is that a part of the globe in which the world still relies for much of its oil supplies, and which you could have a nuclear-armed Iran and a nuclear-armed Saudi Arabia, and so on. I mean, that would be hugely destabilizing and risky in such a crucial part of the world.
Yes, and I also think that we have to look at the way the Islamic Republic operates through its terror proxies and partners, and that would increase the risk readiness on the part of the regime to even destabilize the Middle East even more. So that is why this is all a great concern and should be at the top of the agenda with respect to the Islamic Republic.
Let me ask you this then, Mr. Brodsky. Does Israel, if it is so minded, does Israel have the capabilities to destroy or at least seriously degrade Iran's nuclear facilities? Does it have planes with the range that can carry the necessary payload?
I would say Israel has the ability to damage the Islamic Republic's nuclear program, but it would need the assistance of the United States to completely collapse the nuclear program, and especially with respect to the dispersal of the facilities that Israel would have to hit throughout Iran. And so
because they're spread all over the place.
Exactly. And also they're in hardened mountainous bunkers as well. And the United States has those advanced armaments that Israel does not have to the extent that the United States contains in its arsenal to take out those kinds of hardened facilities. So, yes, Israel has the ability to damage the nuclear program, but the United States has the ability to really shatter and totally collapse the program.
I understand the difference that Israel on its own might be able to delay or hold up or make life difficult, but you would need America to be involved to really make a major difference. Can I ask you then, it follows, right? Then why is President Biden so insistent that Israel should not attack Iran's nuclear facilities? I mean, many might think, look, if Israel's going to retaliate, then surely the nuclear facilities are the most likely thing to attack. This would be the best thing to attack.
Right. That is the one of the most pressing U.S. national security concerns. Unfortunately, I think the Biden administration has been paralyzed by a fear of escalation with respect to the Islamic Republic, and that short-term fear and risk aversion is really confounding and detracting from long-term strategic thinking as to the opportunity that Israel has right now to set back the nuclear program. Because let's not forget, externally, the Islamic Republic has never been weaker. Israel has seriously degraded Hezbollah, which is its crown jewel among its terror proxies. And Hezbollah was always supposed to be the deterrent for the Islamic Republic against an Israeli strike on its nuclear program. Now, with the leadership of Hezbollah effectively decapitated, and Hamas's military capabilities decimated, this is a real opportunity for Israel and its allies to set back the nuclear program. And so that's why it is rather curious that the Biden administration, and I think in a very misguided way, seems to be dodging from this opportunity to set back the program.
Well, you clearly think that Israel should proceed. You prefer American help. But if that's not forthcoming, I think you're saying that Israel should have a go.
What I would say is that there are a lot of facilities, not just nuclear, that Israel would be considering going after. There are ballistic missile sites. There are command and control sites. There are Iranian leadership sites. There are also a whole range of military bases as well. So it's not just bombing the nuclear program or not bombing the nuclear program. There are a variety of other sites that I think would be very meaningful to the U.S. and its allies, particularly the UK as well, because let's not forget that Iran is supplying missiles and drones to Russia for use against Ukraine. And if Israel were to take out some of the defense industrial bases that Iran uses to manufacture those missiles and drones, I think that would be quite welcome in the war effort in Ukraine.
Jason Brodsky, thank you for joining us from the United States today.